Hey, all right, everybody, how's it going? Now then, I wasn't going to make a video today, but one of
Not Jeff's
videos popped up about the government. I got it by here. It's the guidance for electrical vehicles, cost, charging and infrastructure. It came out, published on the 5th of February. It passed me by, so thank you, Not Jeff, for pointing me towards the right direction. But he made a video and it annoyed him because the government making him do stuff, it always annoys him. So he seemed a bit, well, not annoyed, a bit miffed. He was trying to say it's all a load of old ghoulies. So I thought I'd have a look myself. Obviously, my view is going to be different, but this is not a Slate Jeff video. He can say his own thing, but I'm just going to have a look at it because the one thing he did say that I want to ask you lot by here now is this. The first one is owning an electric vehicle. So this is for all you people out there. Now, I know this is not scientific. This is not data-based because I can ask you a question and people could easily make up that they've owned an EV and they didn't like it, or vice versa. People could say they did have an EV and they did like it, but I'm asking for genuine people who've owned EVs. Let me just read this bit by here first. I'm getting ahead of myself. Right. Okay then. Owning an electric vehicle. Industry research shows that the vast majority of... Let me try and say that again, but I'll try and say it in English. So, owning an electric vehicle. Industry research shows that the vast majority of EV drivers are happy with their experience. That's 85%. All this should be on the screen. And would recommend an EV to family or friends, 83%. And it says ZapMap's annual survey of EV drivers also indicates that less than 3% would want to switch back to petrol or diesel. So, Not Jeff said he didn't believe that them stats there. He doesn't believe it. So I'm asking you, this is not scientific. It's not a gotcha moment. I'm just asking, for all you people who do drive EVs, would you go back to a diesel or petrol? Would you recommend it to your family and friends? That's the thing there. So that's the first bit that comes up on owning an electric vehicle. So if you don't mind, put in the comment section, would you go back to a diesel or petrol or blah blah blah, whatever? Or are you absolutely happy with the electric vehicle? Anyway, let's carry on. Now it does say, what's it going to say? Battery range. 99% of car journeys in England are under 100 miles. Now, it does say, if you look at the stats, it's something like the average journey is something like 30 miles. I'm making up my 30 miles, is around about that mark. And if you look at the average mileage travelled by a person in the UK each year, the last time I looked, it was 7,000 and something miles. So I probably would have put the stats up. I'll look them up just in case because I don't want to get things wrong. But it was around about 7,500 miles is the average. Now I know somebody might say, oh, I travel 20,000 miles a year or I travel 30,000 miles a year. Please understand, it's the average, okay? So that's the average mileage, and most people don't do incredibly, massive amounts of miles every day. Because you like I said, I say in other videos, you get somebody, they come on and they go, I do 500 miles a day and blah, 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 blah. All right, we're talking about averages, okay? Right? It's like, I don't need this. Look, here's an example, right? My kids have grown up. All my kids have grown up. I don't need a 7-seater car, right? I don't need a 7-seater car. But I don't make videos on why I don't need a 7-seater car. I don't. Because I don't mind other people driving 7-seater cars. I don't make videos going, oh, you shouldn't have a 7-seater car because there's too many seats and it's too big and it's too long and blah, blah, blah. Because everybody's circumstance is different. So calm down. Calm down. I'm talking about you, but I can see you. You're going to write something about electric cars now. You're going to go, I hate them so much. Oh, right? Calm down. It's just a car. It's just a car, right? So, what was I on about? Battery range. Sorry, I went on a rant again. 90% of car journeys in England are under 100 miles. In Wales is even less, because Wales is tiny. Oh, I haven't got a clue. According to the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders, the average electric range for new EVs launched in 2023 is nearly 300 miles. I think that 300 miles, they say an average, I think that 300 miles is a little bit optimistic in certain circumstances. But it has said the mileage has gone up. This is for new electric cars coming out now in 2023 compared to 2020, where the average was 210 miles. So there are some cars. I think I seen a video not so long ago where the Kona EV that does a genuine 300 miles. I think it was Mr. EV was driving it, and it was in slightly warmer weather. In colder weather, it's going to be less. I know. Okay, right. And it says battery costs are falling. Now I know in recent, when the old pandemic thing happened and everything, the battery prices started going back up again, which was a bit, blinking heck, man. So the battery prices started going up, but now they've fallen massively now. So I have said in another video, I think 2024 is going to be the year of the cheap EV. Well, I say cheap, cheaper, much cheaper EV. Now, I'm going to do a video after this one about cheap EVs. I am, because I've seen a few things, because everybody's going, Ford's stopping making electric cars, but I've seen something about cheap EVs. So I'll be doing a video after this one about cheap EVs in 2024. I'll try and do my research, and anyway, let's go back to this thing. I keep getting sidetracked. Right. So, blah 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 blah. Right, that's battery costs are falling. They've fallen around 80% over the last 10 years, and further decreases are expected. The prices are going down. They're going down. Woohoo! That means if the prices go down, then electric car prices go down, which means people who are skint, like me, can buy an electric car and go, woohoo! Didn't cost me so much money. Right, okay. So, charging costs. Now, charging costs, now I'm going to say this, public charging costs for I think it's ultra rapid, really expensive. Now, if for instance you do charge at home, right, and you've got to use the ultra rapid now and again, it's still going to work out cheap, isn't it? Because you're only using the ultra rapid now and again. But if you can hear some noise in the background, my daughter and a fiance just making some noise behind the door. I've put up the sign, recording going on. I haven't put up the sign. Right, so what was I saying? Charging costs, yeah. Ultra rapid charging costs, they're expensive. But if you do charge at home, and it's only now and again, it doesn't matter, does it? But if you're somebody who hasn't got off-street parking, that can become a bit expensive. I will say that. So blah blah blah. Let's have a look. Charging at home and away. Most EV drivers charge at home overnight. This is true, isn't it? This is true. They found almost all respondents, 93%, not 93% of people who drive, it's 93% of people who own EVs. So the amount of people who own EVs is actually quite high. They have access to home charging. And 90% of them charge them overnight. That's their stats, okay? Now, I think that I've seen a few other stats like that, which I think is true. I think the majority of people who do buy EVs do have home charging, because that does seem to make more sense at the moment, doesn't it? Not to say there's people, well, there's obviously another 7% who don't have access to home charging. And a lot of them get by fine. So there we go. So that's charging at home. I'll leave the link to this so you can go look at yourself. The number of public charging points is growing fast. In 2024, there was more than 53,600 public charge points available across the UK. That's a 45% increase from 2023, and I reckon that 2024 is going to see a bigger increase than last year. That's my guess, okay? So that's 2 guesses now. Battery prices coming down. No, it's 3 guesses. Electric cars becoming cheaper this year. Battery prices coming down, which ties in with becoming cheaper. And the charge points available will expand more this year than last year. That's my guess anyway. Charging time. It goes on to charging time. What does it say about charging time? The majority of EV charging is done on low power charge points at or near home or overnight when you sleep, which is nice, isn't it? You come home, you plug your car in, you put it on a cheap tariff. So say you starts charging, the car says, oh, I'll have some electrons at 12 o'clock in the night and I'll finish early in the morning. Cheap, nice cheap as chips, and all you've got to do is plug the car in. You get up in the morning, it's freezing cold outside, you can warm your car up, jump in your car, off you go. Everything's tickety-boo, okay? So, but obviously, anti-EV, I can't say anti-EV people. Anti-EV people, well, obviously, they don't care about stuff like that. They just want to go, oh, it's rubbish. EV life cycle emissions. Now it says, over its lifetime, a typical EV emits around 2/3 less greenhouse gas emissions than the equivalent petrol car, even accounting for the battery production and disposal. Over time, now this is true, over time these emissions will reduce, and that's because of the grid is going to be, it's going to decarbonise. So that means that if you bought an electric car today, okay, and you kept that car for 10 years, let's say for 10 years, in 10 years' time, your car is going to be giving off less emissions in 10 years' time than it did today. And isn't that nice? Well, it is nice, isn't it? And it says by 2050, it's estimated that an EV will produce over 80% less emissions than the equivalent petrol vehicle. So EVs is all about thinking about the future. It's not about now. It's all about thinking about how it could be in the future, right? So a lot of people, when they think about EVs, they think about now. They don't think about what it could be. And what it could be is a lot better than what it is now. It's just my opinions, right? Okay? But it could be, couldn't it? It could be a lot better. Like you're saying, but there, if the grid gets better, and obviously manufacturing EVs, when you manufacture an EV, if the grid or the power they use to make the EVs is better, then it all helps, doesn't it? Every little helps. What was that from? Is that Tesco's or Asda's? I can't remember. Replacing and recycling EV batteries. There's already more than 26 million EVs on the world's roads. 26 million EVs. Remember, they'll never amount to anything, these electric vehicles, but there's 26 million EVs on the road. I know there's a lot in China, but nevertheless. Now, it says that, what's it saying? New regulations mandate EV battery warranties of 8 years or 100,000 miles. I said that on my last video, didn't I? And it says, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's all about, they've got to change that. The government has committed to over 500 million to the Faraday Battery Challenge to support research, development, and scale. That's battery technology. And obviously there's going to be a lot more recycling going on, isn't it? Supply of EV batteries. See, now, the trouble is, I don't know what this government thing is targeted towards, because the people who are going to read this, who are EEV, are going to not believe anything on this piece of paper at all, are they? They're not going to believe it. Supply of EV batteries. There are more than enough resources to build EV batteries to meet estimated demand until 2050. However, the government recognises that production and recycling will need to scale up in line with increasing demand of EVs. Obviously, as more and more EVs become available, there's going to be more materials to recycle, make new batteries, and blah, blah, blah. So, and obviously there will be more mining and whatnot. I mean, that is the downside, but there we go. The UK has attracted significant investments in gigafactories and EV manufacturing. EV safety. EVs are significantly quieter than petrol and diesel vehicles, reducing noise pollution, and providing an improved environment for drivers. However, the government is committed to ensuring that the future transport is safe and accessible for everyone. Okay, blah, 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 blah. I can't go through it all because it'd be like an hour-long video, so I got to sort of... Now, using a trailer and caravan with an EV. Now, that is that's difficult. I don't know. Let's have a look what they're going to say by here. Blue. Like all other cars, EVs need to be type approved to tow a caravan or trailer. An increasing number of EVs are coming on the market with this capability, such as the BMW iX, Kia EV6 and the Tesla Model Y, as well as models from other manufacturers. Now, we do know that, obviously, when you tow a caravan, it's going to use a lot more energy, so you're going to have to recharge more. Now, there is a difficulty as well for charging, isn't there, with a caravan on the back. So I'm going to say towing a caravan is probably a pain in the bum. And it probably is a pain in the bum. I'm not going to deny that. It probably is a pain in the bum. But I think that'll get better as well in time. So that's my opinion on that. Electricity demand. Let's have a look. Estimates suggest that electrifying the vehicle fleet could result in road transport making up to 15 to 20% of total electricity demand in 2050. The government is confident that the grid will be able to cope. Now, it's just not just the government saying that, the National Grid have said that as well. So it's no hokey pokey, unless you could say the government have told them, the National Grid, to say it's okay. It goes on to weight of EVs, hydrogen versus batteries. It says the government is technology neutral, so they don't mind hydrogen or battery. They don't care really. I have seen a lot of hydrogen seems to be resurging a bit. It is coming back, and I think it will make a resurgence. It all depends, right? They can bring it back as much as they want, but if nobody buys the cars, it's a dead duck, isn't it? So at the end of the day, they can bring it back, they can make a hydrogen car, but if the car is too expensive and nobody can charge anyway, I mean, you can't charge at home, can you? So that's a bum bag. So let me just go back to the weight of the EVs. It says, while EVs tend to be heavier, on average, passenger cars have been increasing in weight for many years. That is true. Cars have got huge. My second car I ever owned was a Ford Fiesta, and I think that was light. A Mark 1 Ford Fiesta in canary yellow. I don't think it was called canary yellow. It might have been, I don't know. But it was yellow. And that was quite a light car. I'll look up the weight and I'll put it by there. Right by there. You see the weight and you go, cool, that is... It's heavy if you want to lift it over your head, but it's light for a car. And for some reason, it's a story time. It's only a short story. Don't all leave. Well, you probably have all left already, haven't you? The story of shortness is, every time I turned the heating on, it smelled like Chinese curry. Like the Chinese curry sauce you buy, for some reason. I think it might have been something to do with the leaking, what's it called, antifreeze fluid. So it probably wasn't very healthy, was it? But there we are. It did smell like curry. It did make you hungry. You turn the heater on and you go, oh, I fancy curry sauce and chips. Anyway, so... Am I annoyed by the government putting out guidance? No! I mean, my mate, not Jeff, he's got a bit miffed by it because obviously, you know, anything the government says is control. We're all controlled, aren't we? I mean, we're all controlled from... Look, when we're young, by the time we're 4, we've got to go to school and come back from school. And then when you get older, you've got to go to work and come back from work. We're all controlled. We've all got to fit into society. That's how society works, isn't it? If we didn't have government control, the society would fall apart. It'd be terrible, wouldn't it? So there we go. We've got to have some form of control. We've got to have it. I mean, we've got to accept it, haven't we, at the end of the day? Well, we don't have to accept everything. We could do a French farmer revolt, I suppose. The peasants are revolting. Yes, and they smell as well. Right, okay. I think that's enough of that. I'll talk about cheaper vehicles in my next video. I'm not going to go through this and poo-poo it because, look, they can put up whatever they want, can't they? I'm not going to say they can't do this. This is absurd. I'm not going to say that. But anyway, if you did like this video at all, or you learned anything, or you can look in the description. I'll put in the description below, in the comment section. Not the comment section, in the description. What am I on about? If you did like this video, go on. Give it a like and a subscribe. Even if you're an EV hater, go on, subscribe. And you can write some terrible comments. So, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ho hoi!